Hey everyone, welcome to Bourbon Bites. Today we're reviewing St. George Baller. So first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to St. George for sending me this bottle to review. I have had lots of experience with the brand, especially living out here in California. They make an amazing line of gin. I'm not even a gin drinker, but I will say their rye gin is right up my alley. I had never really appreciated a gin until I tried that one. Now, some of my friends did warn me this whiskey is very, very different. So I'm setting my expectations knowing that it's not going to be like any whiskey I've ever had before. So this whiskey was distilled and bottled by St. George Spirits in Alameda, California, and is aged 3 years. This is a single malt whiskey distilled from 100% American barley. They age it in used bourbon barrels and French oak wine casks. Not only that, but they finished this whiskey in Japanese Umeshu casks. Now, I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it is a Japanese-style plum liqueur. Now, I do know they do some additional aging with the plum cask, so it's definitely a minimum of 3 years. I think it may be a little bit older. So I just want to give y'all a quick look at the artwork on the front of this label. It is really, really well done, and definitely pays tribute to the Japanese aspect of this whiskey. Now this whiskey comes in at 47% ABV, so it's pretty high proof. It is about $70, at least in my area in Southern California. I am very, very excited for a finish that I have never had before. It's definitely out of my wheelhouse, but you know what? I'm here for it. Let's go ahead and pour it. On the nose, it is very reminiscent of a white wine. There is a lot of floral fruitiness going on in the glass that kind of caught me by surprise. It goes really, really sweet. You do get like a bit of salt and smoke with that sweetness, but it's really, really nice. This doesn't smell like any other whiskey I've ever had. Honestly, I would not guess it's the whiskey on the nose, but let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers, guys. And just like the nose, wow. This is such an interesting spirit. So definitely up front you're hit with that sweetness, but it's still really floral, really bright, almost a lemon peel kind of note. But then it kind of goes into, now I'm not super familiar with, a plum flavor note, but it definitely reminds me of biting into a ripe peach. A little more floral though. It's definitely like a really floral peach, but it's still there. That crispness and the juiciness of a peach, definitely right there at the front of the palate. And mid-palate, I almost feel like you're getting a little bit of those notes from it being in an ex-bourbon cask. You're getting some of that vanilla and caramel, but the finish goes more towards like a deeper, richer experience than I would have expected from something so light on the front of the palate. Definitely leads more into the savory aspect of things with the finish. Almost goes like an apple cider vinegar, I would say. It's really, really unique, and I'm having trouble putting into words how different this experience is from anything I've ever had before. Now, their website does say that they made this whiskey with a highball cocktail in mind, so I had to give it a try. Ooh, I see why they say they had this in mind. That actually is a really interesting take on a highball. Those plum flavors absolutely stand out in this cocktail. I definitely would be able to tell that there is something unique about this one. It's not just your typical whiskey highball. There's a lot of interesting flavors that are going on in the glass here. Overall, this is very, very enjoyable. So I will say, if you bought this and you don't like it neat, definitely give it a try in a highball because it really, really works well. I can see why they went with that. So final thoughts on St. George Baller. I will say, I am very, very impressed with this. It's definitely different. I honestly don't even know where I would categorize this in the scheme of whiskey. If you told me this was a brandy, I'd probably believe you. So do I recommend it at the $70 price point? I would say yes if you're okay with doing something that's a bit different. If you're someone that's a little hesitant, definitely give it a try at a bar first. It's something I really appreciate the effort and uniqueness that went into it. I am a fan of it, but you may not be if this isn't your style. If you've never had, like the Japanese style plum liqueur, which I haven't either, but I will say I like it with this one, so I may have to seek some of that out. So if you're cool with the weird and different, I absolutely recommend St. George Baller, especially if you're around a bunch of whiskey friends. I guarantee you they've never had anything quite like this. So thank y'all so much for watching. If you're new here, I would love if you could hit the subscribe button down below and the thumbs up. It really helps out the channel here, helping us grow into the new year. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. I'm Clifton, and I'll see y'all next video. Cheers.